I'm Amy, and we have got Lee Cowley here with us today.
Hello.
Hello. So, Lee, we always start off by just asking our guests how they heard about the reality check. So, what made you know about what this radio show is?
I used to work with Nigel, and I've been on the show before.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's where I heard from it from Nigel. Came on the show for 15 months, no, 14 months ago,
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
September last year. I've listened back to the show. Such a great listen as well.
Yeah.
So just to give people who are watching this an idea of what to expect, Lee does Live Music for Life, which is a community group. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a community group to help people that are struggling with mental health. Started it at the start of lockdown, hoping to get a couple of hundred people and hopefully help one or two people, and now we've got 1,400 people. It's just a platform where people can come and talk and air their issues, get support and encouragement. So yeah,
Brilliant.
That's what we do.
Fantastic. And just before we go into the show, is there anywhere that people can contact you? So have you got like an account that people can reach you on if they want to get involved in what you're doing?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I've got.
Oh, look at this, come prepared. Love it.
Well, then
Excellent.
You can put that on the camera, and it's got a QR code as well.
Look at that. Okay, I will get that put up so that we can have that as a little screenshot next to it as well. So we've got Live Music for Life, and yeah, and you've got a Facebook page. So
yeah,
we're encouraging people to come and join that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and there's a group chat on there as well, which is I'll talk about it in the show, but it's gone from strength to strength. So
great stuff. Really looking forward to listening to the show, and I'll catch up with you afterwards if that's okay.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Right, well, there you go, and welcome to the reality check here on Revolution Radio. It's Wednesday, and it can only mean for the next hour we're going to be looking at the reflections over life and the projections into the future. Now, today we've got a returning guest, and this particular returning guest is it's got a story to tell that's very close to my heart, and I'm not quite certain what the word is to say that I was involved with this story. Sometimes I kind of think that, was it an advantage or a disadvantage, but certainly honoured to be a part of it. But as usual, we're going to go over to the captain of the chair. How's it going, my friend?
Yeah, doing good, thanks.
Good week?
Yeah, it's been good. I've been, I'm always feeling quite motivated on, once a month, I've mentioned on the show before, I do a networking event up at, it's called Business Buzz up in Kingsthorpe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were doing that this morning, a lot of businesses coming together and having conversations, but I always find that like it's such a great way to start the day. So I'm always like more hyped. Every fourth Wednesday you'll notice.
Okay, so in 4 weeks' time we're going to be expecting again this massive surge of energy.
Yeah, that's quite right, yeah.
Excellent. And have you got up to anything exciting that is, because I know that you've been doing your disc golf, are you still playing your badminton?
No, that's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit, but yeah. No,
excellent. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to introduce our guest for today. And Lee Cowley is somebody that we had on over 12 months ago. And he was coming on to talk about the support that he gives to people that are going through mental health, and set up an organisation called Live Music for Life. And it was based on YouTube, and the idea was to be bringing music as a therapeutic input for people that are going through those times in their life where their thoughts and their emotions may be just going around. So, Lee, welcome to the reality check. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, all things considered.
All things considered. Now, that is a statement and a half, my friend. So I'm going to leave it to you to very quickly, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more depth. So take us back to the 15th of September last year.
Well, it was quite I don't know what you'd call it really. What sort of day? A nightmare day, I guess. In the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning before work. Had a morning of work, felt a bit hungry. Lunchtime, went out of the office, went to walk down to get a sandwich, and basically had a seizure and collapsed. Luckily, you were there to catch me.
Yes, and literally to catch you.
Catch me, yeah. And that led me to going into Northampton Hospital, having CAT scan, CT scan rather, and they found a lesion on my brain. I was then blue lighted in the evening to John Ratcliffe, where I spent 8 days and had brain surgery.
Wow.
So yeah, quite an interesting year to say the least.
So so you had brain surgery. What was the surgery for?
So they'd done a biopsy because my tumour is in the middle of my brain.
So you had a brain tumour.
Yeah.
Or you've got a brain tumour.
Yeah, at that point though, we didn't know. It was they called it a lesion,
Right.
which could be lots of things.
Okay.
So I had to have a biopsy, and it was in the middle of my brain. So they took a biopsy, they put in a brain shunt, which takes the fluid away from the dangerous area and puts it in the right area. And 2 weeks after having surgery, I found out that it was a cancerous tumour and I had to have chemo and radiotherapy.
Can I ask you, what is it like right now?
Side effects from the treatment are quite frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's like trying to get used to a new version of yourself. So it's sometimes hard to, because you look back at what you used to do and you can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't stop you doing other things and doing a different version of what you're doing. And it's just getting your head around that, which is quite hard at times. But with the right support around you and reminders from people how far you've come and what you've gone through, it helps. So again, the support, talking about it, helps no end.
Because one of the things that you've been pushing, and this is not since your surgery, this has been for the longest of times, positive mental attitude. You know, and this is something that was part of your live music for life, that you wanted to sort of get people to be, even when we are sometimes in those difficult situations, it's about trying to hold on to that positive mental attitude. How have you been able to do that over the last 12 months?
Yeah, it's played a big part. I always say you've got two ways of going into things. You can go into things negatively or positively. It's a hard thing to battle, to say the least, without making it worse by being negative. So you may as well go in positive, smiling, take things one step at a time. Don't look at the full staircase, just look at the next step. And yeah, just stay smiling. And it does help. I think it helps the treatment as well. I think it helps you absorb treatment. So
I was talking to Glenn, because you were talking about a book that you'd written.
Not that I've written, no. It's one that I've read, and one that's kind of, I believe it's on like your kind of 100 best reads, or if you read, you know, like the list of books that you should read in your lifetime.
This is one of them.
One of them, and it's called Man's Search for Meaning by an author called Viktor Frankl, and he was actually a Holocaust survivor, and also a psychotherapist maybe.
Okay.
And he wrote this book, which he managed to write whilst in a concentration camp, and he lost it at some point, or had it taken from him by the guards, and had to rewrite it. But the upshot of it all is it follows very much what you've just said, Lee, in terms of positive mental attitude. One of the things he noticed in dire conditions in concentration camps is that people often who died from the things that they picked up while they were there, so it might be, you know, I don't know, gout or frostbite or all these horrible from living in horrendous conditions. He said the people that succumbed to it and passed away, generally it was more because they'd given up hope and they didn't have a purpose and they didn't see that they were ever going to get out of that scenario. And it's almost, he created this term called logotherapy, but it's basically the concept of having a purpose in life propels us forward and allows our body to attack things that we might need to fight for. And that if you psychologically give up on something, that your body actually physically start giving up fighting it as well. And there's that connection between, you know, so it's like, it's not to take away from any medication or process or anything like that, but also there is perhaps some science that supports that, you know, having that positive outlook will give you a different outcome.
In regards to PMA, we've just been, you know, talking about the logotherapy in the book. Who was the author again? Sorry,
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl. And again, you guys out there, it's in the 100 books of must reads, and I think it's spot on, Lee. But in regards to positive mental attitude, did you have any particular, because I know you've been doing this for a long time, was there any particular approach that you took because I'm sure there are going to be lots of our listeners out there that's listening to this. And although the content and circumstances may be different, but being in those circumstances that you were, they may be thinking very similar. How did you approach it with your positive mental attitude?
Yeah, like I briefly mentioned, you've got two options, haven't you? You can be negative or you can be positive in anything in life. So negativity just makes things harder. It brings you down. So why make something harder than it already is? So always stay positive, try and make things easier. When I was having my chemo, I had quite intense chemo and had to stay in hospital in Oxford. So I was 2 hours away from home. It was very strict on visitors, only one a day, and a long way for people to come. But I stayed positive by just, I think a lot of my positivity came from the group, because I help people every day with the Live Music for Life group, and I don't think they realise how much they helped me through all this.
Wow.
A lot of support from people that I've supported, and I think it ties in with what you say about pay it forward. I've been doing that now for 2.5 years on the group. I think I started it. And
So tell me about the group. And I know that like we went through this on your first time into the radio, but it's just such an important group for so many guys out there. And as you know, we should give them a shout out actually, because there's going to be lots of your guys that are going to be on Live Music for Life listening. So I don't know if you want to give them a big shout out.
yeah, there's a lot of people that wanted to listen, so I've put links in to the show and to your app as well, so they can listen on there. Basically, it started, I wanted to get a couple of hundred people in a community group to help them with tough days when they're struggling with their mental health. And it was basically going to be a platform where people could talk. There was no judgment, encouragement, all positivity. And we're now going from wanting a couple of hundred people, we're now at over 1,400 people.
Wow.
And that's all over the world as well. So it's not just UK, there's people all over the world. And
So what kind of things happen on there? Because I know that like on a Friday you almost have like a jukebox jewelry session. I know I've sent in a couple for myself really. So what happens on the group then?
so it's a lot of positive posts. We've now got a general chat messenger group as well, which has really come into its
That goes
own.
off as well, doesn't it? I mean, like I was
Yeah.
in that group, and it's like there's people in it every morning, like lifting each other up. It was actually really nice feel. You know, everybody's very
Yeah,
welcoming,
definitely.
no judgment, and
Yeah.
people talking about some, quite serious things that struggling with, gambling addiction, alcohol addictions,
100%.
and everyone's just helping each other.
I try and I'm up early because I don't sleep very well because of some of my side effects. And I always put on a morning message just saying good morning. And I was saying to the guys earlier, it's just sometimes that message, someone waking up to listening or seeing a message saying good morning, could be the difference between making their day and them staying in bed all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the big things that that we kind of know, that when we go through something like what you've gone through, the impact is immense on you as the individual. Of course it is. You figured out that you've got a brain tumour, you had the surgery, then you have to have chemo and radio, etc., etc., etc. Still suffering with it now. But what's it like for people around you, friends, family, etc., etc.? Because the impact, I remember the impact on me, and again, just very, very quickly, I remember watching you as the seizure was taking hold, and as you were stumbling across the road, I only just managed to grab hold of you and wedge you up against the wall before you went out. That had a huge impact on me for long time. But what's it been like having the impact for family and friends and people around you?
Yeah, with that, I often say to people, they find it funny. I say to people, it's sometimes harder for the people around you, the loved ones and your best friends, than what it is for you. Which sounds silly because only I can go through what I'm going through. No one else can do it for me. But I
Yeah.
think sometimes that's part of the problem. People feel helpless. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
But without the support of my girlfriend, who took me down to a lot of the appointments in Oxford, because all my treatment and surgery was in Oxford, my best mate and his girlfriend have been phenomenal.
Been your rock.
Unbelievable. And my parents, because as soon as I had the seizure, my driving licence was taken away.
Of course.
So you can't drive, so you're relying on other people. So without their support, it would have been impossible. But I also recognise how hard it is for them, because, like I say, I think it's the feeling of feeling useless. They can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've quite regularly said to my parents, my girlfriend, look, you're doing all you can. You can't do it. I'm the only one who can do this.
That's right.
So I've got to do it. And I think that's another reason why I'd always try and stay upbeat, because it does make it easier for the people around you.
Yeah.
And on the bad days, the tough days, then you talk to these people that are close to you, and they're there to support you, and then they're doing their bit. And like you say, it's the paying forward and taking back.
Absolutely. And it's quite a fine balance, isn't it? Because for a lot of people, I think that we get into that mode of just paying it forward, of just say, it's okay, I'll come after, as long as you're all right. But in this set of circumstances, you have no choice.
No.
But you have to take it back. So again, a couple of big shout outs here. One for the girlfriend. Her name is
Teresa.
Teresa.
Yeah.
You know, massive, great big thanks to Teresa. And isn't it great when these things happen? You actually find out those people that are really there for you.
Yeah.
And your best mate and his girlfriend.
Yeah, Matt and Michelle.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, Teresa's really, it's been hard on her because I do all the cooking at home. Or I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when this happened, you don't take into account that simple things like cooking a meal I can't do because my hands are shaky. So if I'm pouring a kettle, or my memory loss,
yeah.
I quite regularly try and cook something, and Teresa will come in and she'll go, is the hob supposed to be on?
Right.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And of course, stuff like that can be quite dangerous.
Absolutely.
It sounds silly, but
it doesn't sound silly at all. And again, part of what we want to share with people, because, you know, it's important. In regards, I just want to go back to, because I know it sounds horrendous having a brain tumour. Something that you said a long time ago, did they say that it's quite a common thing that people go through and have this stint or the thing in their head?
the shunt is quite common. My brain tumour's not common. It's usually in younger people or younger adults, and it's usually related to in your testicles.
Right.
But mine's in the middle of my brain. I don't know what that says about me.
We're not going to go down that path. Okay, we're certainly not going to go down that path. Lee, this is the last section of the show, and something that I really wanted to sort of go into a little bit more is your passion for supporting other people with mental health and live music for life. What are the plans for it? You've got 1,400 people, which is 1,200 more than you thought about initially. What's the vision right now?
So I was looking to do things like walk and talks. So meet up, go around a park, totally informal.
Yeah.
Encourage people to have a chat, how their day's been, how their week's been. I think people open up more when it's less formal.
Absolutely. And you haven't got that eye-to-eye contact,
No,
have you?
exactly.
You're just walking at the side of somebody, you know, and you're just talking. And the thing I like about those walks and talks is that when you're out in nature, there's always something to say, oh, look at this or look at that.
Yeah.
And that's what gets those conversations going, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also the exercise gets serotonin going, so it gives people a bit of positivity straight away. Also want to do some live music fundraisers for local charities.
So it's really, you know, although it's been a few months that you know you've been busy healing, etc., but you're back onto it now, passionately and with a sense of urgency. And we're saying to as many people out there as we can, any of our listeners that want to go and join this Live Music for Life group, how do they get in touch there?
As long as you're on Facebook, just search for Live Music for Life Community, and it's the number 4. So Live Music, number 4, Life Community. It will come up and you'll see the Live Music for Life logo, and you can just join, and then I accept it, and you can post away. You can be as verbal as you like, or you can sit back and just read and get the positivity from everybody else until you get the confidence to post something a bit more.
There are lots and lots of people out there going to be listening to what you're saying and hopefully being inspired themselves to actually sort of think more on a positive mental attitude. But what messages would you give out to people both going through things like what you've gone through and also those people around trying to care for them?
Like I said earlier, really, it's a case of looking at the next step in front of you. It's so easy to get carried away and start looking further down the line and think, oh God, that's going to happen to me, this is going to happen to me. They're all possibilities, they're not definites. So look at the next step, just go into it positively. And like I said earlier, I think the body is more receptive to accepting positivity if you've got a positive mental attitude. They told me when I was in hospital, all the doctors said to me, whatever you do, keep your positive mental attitude because it will help you all the way through. And I went through chemo, no sickness. I've got side effects from the treatment now, but through the actual chemo, I had quite intense chemo and I had no sickness. I don't like to say I breezed it because it was hard at times, but from a point of view of the throwing up, the nausea at night, not sleeping, etc., that you always hear about, the nightmares, I didn't have any of that. I went through it okay, so it is possible to do it.
You see, and I think that's the message, you know, because we always go to the worst case scenarios in our head, don't we? You know, we were talking only a couple of weeks ago about my eyes, and straight away I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's, you know, and you always go there. So it's great to hear, you know, from a real life set of circumstances that, you know, it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. It didn't turn out to be, in regards to the chemo, didn't turn out to be the throwing up in the... And you believe some of that has got to be doing with your positive mental attitude?
100%, yeah. They told me it in both hospitals, in John Ratcliffe when I was in there, and also Churchill's Hospital, where I had most of my treatment. All the doctors said the same. So they see it every day, so they know.
I think even, and of course we all know, don't we? It's like if you're going to go through your day with negative thoughts going around in our head and feeling negative, it's not great. Definite positive mental attitude every single step of the way.
Yeah, definitely. Be the energy that you want to attract. That's what I'd say.
Yeah,
absolutely. Lee Cowley, I just want to say thank you very, very much indeed, and I really look forward to you coming back and giving us an update. If you've enjoyed today, don't forget, put it in your diary for next Wednesday between 6 and 7. Until then, we'll see you soon. Tra-tra.
Right, there we go. And that was it. That was your reality check. The second one. How'd it go? How are you feeling?
Yeah, old pro now, aren't I?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's good. Really enjoyed it. It's always nice coming on and getting out what you're doing and hopefully inspiring others to do the same.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch it back and watch the podcast. It's a pleasure to hear you speak and just to see your radiant glow as well. You always got a big smile on your face. That's always a pleasure to watch.
It's not always there.
Well, as is life.
Yeah.
Right? But is there anything what would you say the key topics were that you discussed on today's show then?
Obviously the group, Live Music for Life community, if you search that on Facebook, and that's the number 4.
Brilliant.
So, positive mental attitude, always try and keep a positive mental attitude. And I think really the last thing that I said was be the energy that you want to attract. I'm a strong believer of the laws of attraction. So if you're putting out positivity, it's going to come back to you and you're going to attract positive people.
Great stuff. Is there anything you feel that you just didn't manage to say that you wanted to share?
No, I don't think so really. Just be kind. That's all I'd say.
Great stuff. What a lovely one to end on.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming in, Lee.
No worries. Thank you. They're proper wobbly, aren't they, when you get one?
I hate stools. Okay, so remember you can listen live 6 p.m. every Wednesday on 96.1 FM, or listen back anytime on revolutionradio.com. Teeth back in. Our podcast is available on Apple, Spotify and Google, and you can join the conversation by following us at Reality Check Community on Instagram or by joining our One Tribe network. Links are available in the comments below or in the bio, and you can also reach out to Lee using the link provided below. Have a great week.